In this UPSC Current Affairs series, today we are going to cover the Hindu analysis of 24th of June. Now let's start. So first we are going to cover Operation Midnight Hammer. Now understand, USA has attacked the nuclear sites of Iran. This was basically Operation Midnight Hammer. In retaliation, Iran also attacked the US base in Qatar, and the name of that is Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. So have a look at the geographical location of Iran and Qatar. This is Iran, this is Strait of Hormuz, and this is Qatar. And this is the capital of Qatar, that is Doha, and this is Al Udeid Air Base. So this is military base of USA, and that's why Iran attacked it. Next is related to South Asian Free Trade Agreement or SAFTA. Understand, it is a trade agreement between the countries of South Asia. Now, basically, the problem is in case of SAFTA, the trade integration is not that much good. That simply means countries do not have that much good level of trade with each other as well as with the international community. So basically, in the recent time, two major issues were highlighted. One was issue of security because of a terror attack on India. Subsequently, there was issue of a tariff also. USA imposed a tariff on India. So these two issues highlighted the need to have a common policy for security as well as for economic growth. Why? Because if there won't be security, investment will not come. That will adversely impact the economic growth. So that is why we have to focus on economic integration along with our national security. Now the problem is that SAFTA is not giving us good result. For example, the intra-regional trade of SAFTA, that is South Asian Free Trade Agreement, account for barely 5 to 7. Intra-regional basically means within that region, within South Asian region. In comparison to that, the trade agreements such as EU, in that case, the intra-regional trade contribute roughly 45%. That means the countries trade with themselves roughly 45% of the overall trade of that particular agreement. Similarly, in case of ASEAN, 22% within the ASEAN countries. So that simply means the trade between the countries of SAFTA, that is South Asian Free Trade Agreement, is very, very minimal. Now, the problem is it consists of countries like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and most of these countries do not have good relationship. Problem is that there are impact of colonial past, and that's why there is a kind of hostility among these countries. Next is related to the term evoporative demand or thirst wave. Understand, evoporative demand basically means how much will be the evaporation. If evoporative demand is high, in a very simple sense, more and more evaporation will happen. If more and more evaporation will happen, this will adversely impact our agriculture. Why it will adversely impact agriculture? Because as soon as you are going to irrigate your field, there will be evaporation. You need to irrigate it again and again and again. That's why it is given the name thirst wave. Now the problem is because of global warming, the evaporative demand is increasing. That simply means now the farmer need to irrigate their fields again and again. On the other hand, because of higher evaporative demand, the evaporation will keep on happening. Plus, because of global warming, the water availability is going down. So this is creating two fundamental problems. A, because of global warming, the demand of water will increase. Because of higher evaporative demand, more evaporation will happen. Plus, because of global warming, the supply of water will also be adversely impacted. So this will impact our food and water security. In a very simple sense, evaporative demand simply means is the measure of how thirsty the atmosphere is. If atmosphere is more thirsty, it will lead to more evaporation. Next is a book, and that is Wings to Our Hopes. So it is a collection of essays of our president. So keep that in mind. That is one thing. Recently, two other books were in news. One is Why Bharat Matters, that is by Mr. S. Shankar, and second is A Maverick in Politics, that is by Congress politician Mani Shankar Iyer. Next is related to the bilateral trade deal between India and USA. So basically, the problem is India and USA are negotiating a trade deal. Why to negotiate a trade deal? Understand, US has imposed a tariff on us, and that is a reciprocal tariff. Reciprocal tariff basically means USA is saying India has imposed higher tariff on items from USA. So in a retaliation, US will also impose. Now, if US will impose a tariff on us, basically our exports will be adversely impacted. That means the items which we export, they will be costly in USA, so they will be sold less. That's why we are negotiating a trade deal or bilateral trade deal. In this bilateral trade deal, one issue is there. That issue is related to agriculture and dairy products. US want that India should reduce the tariff on these products from USA. I'm oversimplifying it. For example, let's say we import soya from US. So US want that India should reduce tariff on these products from USA. Similarly for dairy products also. Now, why India is not willing to provide this concession? Problem is that we are agrarian economy. That means a significant population of our country is dependent on agriculture. So if India will cut down the tariff on these items, basically our domestic farmers will have to face competition from those imported items. That will adversely impact our agriculture sector, and that is why we are not willing to provide this concession, and that is why there is a delay in trade agreement also. Now understand, July 9 is the deadline for the reimposition of the US reciprocal tariff. So the tariff are suspended till July 9, and that's why we are trying to have a kind of trade agreement in the meantime. Next is related to India ASEAN trade deal review. First thing first, what is ASEAN? ASEAN is Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So it's a grouping of 10 countries. India had a trade agreement with this grouping. Now, this trade agreement was signed in 2009. As a part of this trade agreement, we reduced our tariff. For example, India opened 71% of its tariff line for the ASEAN countries. Indonesia opened 41%, Vietnam 66%, Thailand 67%. In a very simple sense, India provided more concessions. Okay, trade agreement was signed, we provided more concessions. Because of these concessions, the imports into India from this region, that is from ASEAN, has increased significantly. For example, since trade agreement, our export to ASEAN have doubled. They have increased. Yes, that's a good thing. They have doubled. But our imports have tripled. And that is why we are saying that we need to renegotiate this. We need to review this. Now, please understand, ASEAN is important trade partner for India. Roughly, it accounts for roughly 11% of India's trade. That means if we are exporting or if we are having a trade of 100 rupees with the global community, we are having a trade of 11 rupees with ASEAN. Now, why we are looking for review? One reason is that our imports are growing faster. Second problem is that, since understand this thing very carefully, China is not a member of ASEAN. So ASEAN countries, if they are going to export product to India, they will have to basically their product will face less tariff from India because of this trade agreement. So that's why what is happening is Chinese exporters, they export their item to these ASEAN country. Then some minor work is done, and then these items are exported to India. In a very simple sense, China will export to ASEAN, ASEAN will export to India. What is the benefit for this in China? Benefit is that since with ASEAN we have a trade agreement, so we will not impose much tariff on these items. So that's why India is saying that China is rerouting these items via ASEAN, and that is why we need to renegotiate this trade agreement. Next is related to a term named as manosphere. Just a second. Manosphere. So recently, UN Women highlighted this issue of manosphere. What is this manosphere? In a very simple sense, it is a online community which promote the very narrow definition of being a man, narrow and aggressive definition that men should be like this, men should be like this, and they oppose the gender parity. Gender parity basically means men and women should be treated equally. So that's why the term manosphere is given. So, in a very simple sense, they are saying that feminism is taking the rights of men away. Just understand the term. If there will be question, that will be very simple question that manosphere leads to. So, one option can be it is one of the new layer in atmosphere. So that's how examiner can set a trap. Next is related to Digital Market Act and gatekeepers. Now understand, European Union has enacted DMA, that is Digital Market Act. So this is a legislation to ensure the fair competition in case of digital economy. Fair competition means there should not be monopoly of single player. Okay. Now let me give you a very basic example. Let's say there is a hotel. The hotel name is Google. Now you have checked in the hotel, and whenever you will try to order the food, only the Google cooked food will be allowed. That means only the food which is prepared in the kitchen of that hotel, only that is allowed. No Swiggy, no Zomato, nothing else. Now this is problematic. Why? Because in this case Google is not allowing the competition. That's why there is a DMA, Digital Market Act. And that is the concept of gatekeeper. Gatekeeper basically means big companies. These big companies, they need to make sure that they do not adversely impact the competition. So because of that, European Union was planning to impose a penalty on Google, and that's why Google has offered some changes into its policy. What kind of changes? So next time if you are going to order food, I'm just giving that example. Next time if you are going to order food from that Google hotel, it will also show you the links of Swiggy and Zomato. That is the entire issue. So now Google has offered to add the dedicated box for the rival services such as flights and hotels on the top of search result. That simply means Google is saying that okay, we will allow the search options of other parties also. Now understand, Google have a very strong power as far as search engine is concerned. Most people do not even know the term search engine. They just call it Google. So you can understand the dominance. Now, whenever something is being searched on Google, Google can control the search results, and therefore there is a problem, and that is why the European Union was planning antitrust case. So that is the entire issue. Next is related to first overseas nano fertilizer plant. So IFCO, that is Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Organization, that is going to set up first nano fertilizer plant in Brazil. This is going to be a joint venture between Indian IFCO and company of Brazil, and it is going to be 7-3 joint venture. 7-3 basically means 70%, 30%. Now the first nano urea plant of India was set up in Kalol, and it is in Gujarat. Apart from that, there was one more term related to urea, that is urea gold. So in case of urea gold, basically sulfur is also associated. That means it is coated with sulfur so that it will address the sulfur deficiency of the soil. So these were the important current affairs. Thank you.